Steven's wearing a Crash Davis Durham Bulls jersey, which I absolutely love. By the way, welcome back, Steven,
Thanks, sir.
to the
Glad to
show.
be here.
Good, it's good to have you again. I love the Durham Bulls. Bull Durham, I think, is the best baseball movie of all time. Kevin Costner, hilarious in it as Crash Davis. Fantastic movie.
Very much so.
I mean, it's one of those, like Jerry Maguire. It's technically a rom com, but it's more of a sports movie.
It's a sport. Yeah, it's a sports movie. It absolutely is.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and get to it. We are talking baseball today. Postseason. We're recording this on Monday. Postseason starts today, if you're listening. Tomorrow for us while we're recording. So let's go ahead and get to it. Different format this year. At the 11th hour, back in July, MLB decided to expand the playoff and got it approved from 10 teams to 16 teams, 8 in each league, I should say. I almost said division and conference, but I got it wrong. Let's go ahead and get it. Let me pull up the American League here. So American League, I believe, is the Rays are at number 1.
Yes.
They are. I should have this. They are playing Toronto.
Toronto. Okay. So that'll be in Tampa, right?
Nah. Well, that's true. Wild card series, yes.
Yes.
I'm thinking hub cities. 2 seed is Oakland against Chicago. Tough draw for the A's. Chicago White Sox, I should say. 3 seed is Minnesota against Houston. And then 4 seed is Cleveland up against the New York Yankees. And the NL, it is the LA Dodgers facing the Milwaukee Brewers, who snuck in. The 2 seed is the Atlanta Braves going up against my Cincinnati Reds. And then the Chicago Cubs going up against the Miami Marlins, who snuck in. And then lastly, the San Diego Padres going up against your St. Louis Cardinals. So let's go ahead and get to it. I'll go ahead and say, which wild card series piques your interest the most?
I'm really interested in Cincinnati and Atlanta because those two teams, the strength of each of those teams is going to be in direct competition with the strength of the other team.
Mm-hmm.
The strength of Cincinnati's team is very obviously their starting pitching. Trevor Bauer's probably going to win the Cy Young in the National League. Either him or DeGrom. Sonny Gray had a really good year.
Mm-hmm.
Luis Castillo had a very good year.
Mm-hmm.
And those three are going to be in direct competition with the strength of Atlanta's team, which is their lineup.
Yep.
Ronald Acuna, Ozzie Albies, Freddie Freeman's going to be the MVP in the National League. Marcell Ozuna could win the MVP in the National League if he wasn't playing on Freddie Freeman's team. There's guys all over that lineup that are just mashing the baseball. So it'll be really interesting to see which of those strengths kind of comes out. Because on the flip side, Cincinnati has a great lineup, but they very much underperformed this year. I think
100%.
I think you could say that Castellanos underperformed. I think you could say that Suarez underperformed. Joey Votto kind of came back to form after a down year last year, but underperformed for his talent level and his pedigree. I think you could say Mike Moustakas underperformed.
They were dead last in the majors in batting average at like 212.
Yeah, a lot of guys, if you could say, underperformed and were very underwhelming. And then in direct competition with that, Atlanta's starting rotation has just been decimated by injuries. They have lost 3 or 4 of their top guys to season-ending injuries and have kind of piecemealed together a starting rotation with Soroka out and Hamels out and Oltanevitz out.
Well, they got rid of him, didn't they?
Did they finally end up?
I thought they got rid of him back in June, but yeah.
But I know he got hurt.
Yeah.
And that may have caused them to get rid of him because but I mean like I said, that's one that's interesting to me on the National League side. I'm trying to think of American League. If you got one
I do. The one I'm proud. The one I have. Well, I should say two. I have circled are Cleveland and the New York Yankees, and then Oakland and the White Sox. White Sox is a tough draw, and I know the seeding is a little different this year. The top 2 seeds in each division got the top 6, or the division winners, I should say, got the top 3 seeds. The second place teams got 4 through 6, and then there were 2 wild cards.
Right.
Chicago White Sox are 4th in the American League, but third. Am I reading that right? 3rd, yeah, in their division at 35 games. Oakland won 36. Just 1 game below them is the Chicago White Sox, and they're the 7 seed of the AL. Just a very tough draw for Oakland, who has had some injuries. I think it's Max Chapman is done for the year.
Third baseman,
and their starting pitching, I should say, really isn't that great. They haven't even, I don't think, released who's going to start. I don't know if it's tomorrow night or Wednesday night. But they haven't released that, where the White Sox have, with Giolito and Keuchel going 1-2. I think that really favors the White Sox, who are just as talented, maybe a little bit young, but...
Yeah, and you and I have been talking about the White Sox for 2-3 years now as a team that is ready to take the next step. They just have to put everything together, and it seems like, although this season is kind of, we talked about it at the beginning of the year, the season is kind of a wash, a crapshoot, if you will. They put it together for 60 games, kind of got screwed on the seed, like you said, on the seeding. To come out with a 7 seed and have the 4th best record in the league, but be behind 2 teams that were better.
Yeah.
That played better.
And even then, Minnesota was just 1 game ahead of them, and they lost a tiebreaker to Cleveland. I don't know how the tiebreakers work. I would imagine division, within your the AL, which would just be your division this year, division, or common opponent, something like that. But yeah,
I'm sure it was something unnecessarily difficult. I mean, Chicago has been that team that we've been looking at for 2 or 3 years now to say they've got all of this talent. They've got they've got all of this young, great talent. And then they've had 2 guys come up recently in Luis Robert and Eloy.
Is it Robert? Are we sure? My brother says Robert. I say Robert. It just sounds better.
I have no idea. It sounds better. I like it. He's got the shirt unbuttoned all the way down to his belly button, and there's chains flying everywhere. I like to say Robert, but anyway, those 2 guys absolutely exploded onto the scene this year. Robert specifically, Eloy was up last year, but exploded onto the scene this year, and they're absolutely mashing the ball. So Oakland, as Oakland always does, is kind of Billy Beaning their way into games. Don't have any star players outside of Olsen and Chapman, really, and they have just a lot of guys that do their jobs well. You can say that about kind of both teams at the top of the AL. No star players, but to have guys that just do the job well.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's kind of a clash of styles, if you will, where Chicago's flashy and has all this star talent and first-rate name talent, and Oakland doesn't. That'll definitely be an interesting series. And I don't really know how these 3-game series are going to go.
Yeah.
I don't see one where I think, oh, that's an easy 2-game sweep for.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to win. 2 games. I should say it's hard to win 2 games in a row, but if you think about a typical 3-game series, probably in Major League Baseball, a lot of it is winning 2-1. Not necessarily a sweep. Sometimes one team wins 1 game, then it's 1-1 going into the 3rd game. I think that's very interesting. I will say though, it obviously benefits guys with a good 1-2 starting pitcher, because in a best of 7, you get 1-2. Best case scenario, it's just 2-0. You still got to come up with 2 more wins, and if the rest of your starting rotation isn't that great, you might not win that series. That happened to the Dodgers a while, for years with Kershaw and Greinke, and then they couldn't really muster enough in the remaining series or games in those series. But I think it's going to benefit a lot. Let's go ahead and get to it. I wanted to piggyback off what you said about teams that do it well, and let's go ahead and start with Tampa Bay and Toronto and the AL. Tampa Bay is one of those teams, they do it well. Like, I don't really know what else to say about them. I look at their numbers pitching-wise, I'm like, okay, yeah, they have really good pitching, which they do. But offensively, their numbers really aren't that great. They're like between 10 or like 11 and 17 or 18 in a lot of offensive categories. They just do enough.
They do just enough because they know they're going to have pitching. They've got a great bullpen. They know that their pitching and their defense can keep them in games. They have just enough offense they can win. I don't know how that will play in playoffs this year, especially.
But shit, dude, they won 40 games. That's insane.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and it's you got to think, of course, they had.
True. I know the AL East wasn't great.
They had the Red Sox to play.
And the NL East wasn't very good either while we're at it.
The Phillies and the Mets weren't very good. The Nationals didn't live up to expectations this year. They had some teams that they could kind of beat up on. But at the end of the day, these are Major League Baseball teams. Case number one, the Miami Marlins made the playoffs this year.
Yeah, I know.
Who would have thought?
I'll get into them in a bit because I think that's very interesting.
But you say, but like we were saying, the Rays just do enough to get the job done. However, on the flip side, Toronto is a very offensively heavy team. Mm-hmm. They rely on their offense to win them games. They're going to win games 10-9, 11-10, and not 3-2 or 2-1, which is kind of more the way Tampa wants to win a game. So that's another clash in styles. It'll be an interesting series to watch. I think Tampa Bay will win the series. I'll pick them in 3, but it'll be an interesting series to watch because of that clash of styles.
I'm going Rays as well. Just too much pitching. They're a well-run organization. We've talked about this. They got a good manager. They got a good front office. Not that the front office really matters at this point.
Kevin Cash might be the best manager in baseball right now.
I wouldn't disagree with you.
With what he does with what he has, I think he may be one of the best. He may be the best manager in baseball.
Yeah. Another thing I was looking at here, in terms of runs scored in the AL, Tampa Bay, I think, is 4th. Yankees are 1st. White Sox, Blue Jays, and then the Rays. So they're 4th of the 8 teams offensively. But I'm going Rays as well. They're just good. They're just good, man. I don't know how else to say it. They're good. And I didn't like the way the Blue Jays finished the year. They finished the year, I think, 8-10 in their last 18 games. Really struggled down the stretch. Tampa Bay has been there. They were in it last year. Almost in it the year before that. They got the pitching. They ought to win. I said Tampa Bay in 2, but honestly, I could see all these series going 3 games. Just because you don't really know what you're going to get in 3 games.
I really could too. I really could see every one of these series going 3 games.
Next one is Cleveland and the New York Yankees. What do you think? I'm curious, what do you think? My initial take was the Yankees. And I have already posted my predictions. But my initial thought was the Yankees. And I'll let you go ahead and take it.
Yeah. I think my initial thought is the Yankees as well. Just because they were so prolific on the offensive side this year. Kind of without Judge or Stanton having just incredible years. Mm-hmm. DJ LeMahieu absolutely knocked the cover off the ball this year. Guys like Gleyber Torres and other guys on that team really beat the hell out of the baseball this year. And they got good pitching. They have a great bullpen. We're going to be talking about this a lot, I feel like, but this is another game, another series where there's a clash of styles because Cleveland's strength, what they're going to rely on is their starting pitching. Mike Clevenger, Shane Bieber, or not Clevenger anymore.
I was about to say.
Shane Bieber and Luis Carrasco are
Plesac.
And Plesac, yes, and Plesac are great starting pitchers.
Yeah, I was looking it up today. This is what changed my opinion, so I'll go ahead and say I picked the Indians. But I was looking at their starting pitcher, and they got Bieber, Carrasco, and Plesac going those 3 games. Collectively, between the 3 of them, I think they have a combined ERA of like 2.2. I mean, just ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, and I think Garrett Cole is good. The Yankees can win that first game, but can Tanaka step up, or whoever's going to step up that 3rd game? I don't know, against Carrasco and Plesac, who have also been doing, well this year.
Yeah, I totally agree. I will probably stay with New York, just because they can win a game whenever they want to, by winning it 9-8. Or
I will say, I also think Francona is the better manager than Aaron Boone.
I do. I love Tito Francona, but I do think that in a longer series, I would pick Cleveland. In a 5-game or 7-game series, I would absolutely pick Cleveland, because they could line up Bieber and Carrasco and Plesac, and Bieber could go 3 times, and Plesac and Carrasco could go twice, and I don't know if the Yankees could compete with that. So in a longer series, absolutely, I would pick Cleveland, but I think because it's a short series, because it's in New York in that bandbox.
No, it's in Cleveland. It's in Cleveland.
Is it? Yes. It's in Cleveland. Okay, it does change things. Boy. You know what?
No fans. It's no fans. I mean,
Cleveland
you're going Cleveland. All right, I put Cleveland as well. But Minnesota and Houston. This was tempting for me. 2 out of the last 3 years. We know in recent years they can mash the ball. They got Justin Verlander. However, this team is not good. They're only in the play, or they were not good this year. Which, by the way, pat us on the back. Let's go ahead and pat us on the back for not picking Houston to make the playoffs, which they basically wouldn't have. We didn't do it, but they snuck in anyway, just because they were the 2nd best team in the AL West in a fairly weak division, I should say. But this team's not good, so, and they haven't hit the ball well. Could it happen? Sure. Could they get hot? Sure. But I haven't seen anything to make me think that this team's going to just put it together in October.
I'm right there with you. Yeah. I was looking at stats this year versus the last 3 years. I mean, any year where Jose Altuve is hitting I think he's hitting 220. I just that's nuts to me. But it's just I don't see them being competitive. Minnesota kind of is maybe the most complete team on the American League side. You may can put Oakland and Tampa Bay kind of in that realm with them, but Minnesota can beat you 1-0, or they can beat you 10-9. I don't know if we can say the same about Tampa Bay or Oakland. So I think this is the one series where I will say it will not go 3, because I think Minnesota wins it in 2.
Yeah. A couple more things. 1, I don't trust Dusty Baker at all in the postseason. 2,
nope.
These are the 2 teams that are the complete 180 of each other. Remember, the wild card series are at the higher seeds home stadium. So Minnesota at home this year was 24-7. Never lost a home series before Cincinnati at the last series of the year. I think I heard that. But at home, Minnesota's 24-7. On the road, Houston is 9-23. I'm taking Minnesota in 2. I don't think this is going to be even close.
Absolutely.
Of course, Houston probably is going to roll out Verlander game 1, I would imagine. So they might steal one.
I thought Verlander got hurt.
Oh, shit, you're right.
I thought he had Tommy John.
Yeah, he's done for the year. You're right. I completely forgot about that. But yeah, Minnesota in 2. Go ahead and book it. Oakland and Chicago. This is the one we said.
This is the tough one that we said to keep an eye on. This is probably the most difficult one to pick. I love the way Oakland plays ball. I think, like I said, I think they're a very complete team. They are just snake bitten in the postseason. They cannot advance in the postseason. They've had these great teams past 3-4 years cannot get past the wild card round, cannot get past the divisional round. So,
I mean, this is even back to the early Moneyball days of Billy Beane. What the movie Moneyball is about.
It's hard to pick against Oakland. It's hard to pick, and it's also hard to pick Oakland. I mean, Chicago is arguably Chicago's the more talented team. They've got more talent across the board. Jimenez, Robert, Tim Anderson, Jose Abreu, Giolito, Yasmani Grandal is the catcher for him now. Moncada is playing second base, or he may be playing third. I'm not quite sure. They've got this talent all over the place, but they're just so young and so inexperienced in the postseason. And as much as Oakland has not had success, they've been there for 3, 4, 5 years in a row. I will take Oakland in 3. I'm not super stoked about that pick. If Chicago won this, it would not surprise me at all.
So I'm going to take the White Sox because of what I said earlier. I don't think Oakland has the starting pitching. If this were, I said in my blog, if this were a 1-game series, Oakland could definitely make it a bullpen game, and just ride dudes for 3 to 4 innings and be able to win. But This is a 2 out of 3 series.
Great.
And Chicago's going out there with Giolito and Keuchel 1-2. I think that favors Chicago. I'm not saying they'll win in 2, but I think that favors Chicago. I don't think Oakland has the starting pitching. They have the bullpen, but I don't know about their starting pitching. So I'm going to go White Sox in 3, but also keep in mind Oakland is 22-10 at home, pretty good record. But the White Sox were 17-13 on the road, which isn't bad either. Hard to win on the road. So going to be a pretty compelling series, I think, but I'm going to go White Sox.
I think that will be the most compelling American League series.
I said Cleveland
by far.
I said Cleveland and the Yankees on my blog, but that's right up there, I think, at 2. So let's flip to the NL here. Let's go ahead and get this out of the way. Dodgers, Brewers. The Brewers didn't really do anything to get in. They got lucky because the Giants and Phillies couldn't get out of their own way.
Yes.
And the Brewers just kind of snuck in.
The Brewers literally snuck in.
Yeah, and I like the Brewers, but this isn't a team that got hot. No, they literally just snuck in. They just happen to have the tiebreakers. And the Giants and Phillies suck and can't get out of their own way. The Brewers, I saw in their last 25 games, I think, were 13-12. This team isn't hot. So this is going to be Dodgers, and I think Dodgers in 2.
I 100% agree with you. if they've got Walker Buehler going game 1 and maybe Kershaw in game 2, they could probably throw.
And the Brewers struggled offensively this year. Couldn't do much.
They could probably save Kershaw and go. Oh, who could they throw in game 2?
Yeah, who's the dude with the long red hair? Glorious red hair.
Dustin May.
Yeah, him.
He would probably be game 3 if I had to guess. But Los Angeles is the most talented team in the league right now. They make it through easy to Los Angeles in 2.
Yeah,
easy.
So your series, Padres and Cardinals. Are the Cardinals banged up? Are they dinged up right now? I feel like they are. Am I wrong? I know the Padres are a little bit.
Not really. We have some depth pieces that are a little banged up, but the overwhelming issue is we have absolutely no production from our outfield whatsoever. Tyler O'Neill, Harrison Bader, Dylan Carlson has started swinging the bat a little bit, but he's 21 years old. This is his first extended time in the majors. Dexter Fowler is playing like he's 714 years old, which he is. We're just not getting any production at all. The infield is playing okay. Goldschmidt, Wong, DeYoung is on a bit of a slump right now, and then Tommy Edman. Yadier Molina is riding the high of notching his 2,000th hit last week, which was awesome. But no, I wouldn't say we're banged up. I would say we're okay. It's not guys that you're counting on to produce. It's guys that, if they were healthy, would be great, but in a playoffs probably wouldn't be used all that much anyway. And San Diego, on the other hand, I believe their number one starter just went down.
He is to be determined, I believe. Clevenger.
And Clevenger is TBD, and I believe Lamet is also TBD.
Yeah, I know they have at least two guys who are their status is unknown right now, which does benefit St. Louis.
It benefits us, and our strength is starting pitching. We just laid out our rotation. I believe it is Flaherty, him, and Wainwright. I'd have to check that. It may be KK, Flaherty, Wainwright. I'll check that. But those three guys are throwing the ball really well. Adam Wainwright had a resurgent year. Could win National League Cy Young if Trevor Bauer and DeGrom weren't alive. Could have a top 5 finish at 30, but at 39, I mean, he's 39 years old. So great year from Waino. Jack Flaherty has kind of skidded a little bit at the end, but he's still Jack Flaherty. He's still one of the best pitchers in the game. And Kwon Young Kim is throwing the ball really, really well. So, we're starting pitching, our bullpen throwing the ball very well. Our offense stinks.
Yeah.
So, that on the flip side, outside of Clevenger and Lamet, who may not throw, I don't trust anybody who throws the ball for San Diego until they get into their bullpen and Trevor Rosenthal at the end. But their offense is nuts. Fernando Tatis Jr. is the face of baseball. Eric Hosmer, Machado. These guys can play.
So I'm a big point differential guy, especially in and I'm not covering my own ass. I literally did mean that in general terms. Padres are number 2, looks like, in run differential behind the Dodgers. So Dodgers are +1.
That's the only thing that gives me pause. I don't trust any of those people in the playoffs. Eric Hosmer has not been in the playoffs since he left Kansas City. Hadn't been anywhere close, and really wasn't all that great a playoff guy for Kansas City anyway. That was always more their pitching and defense that got them, and Lorenzo Cain and Moustakas and all those guys. Hosmer was just kind of along for the ride. Machado shrinks in the limelight. Everybody knows that, and everybody else for that team has not ever played in the postseason. So, the Cardinals have a team that is loaded and stacked with guys that have played in the postseason, played deep in the postseason. I'm gonna go St. Louis in 3. It all depends on the Cardinals starting pitching. If the Cardinals get good starting pitching this game, this could be a 2-game series, and it could not really even be close. If they don't get good starting pitching, it could not be close the other way, and it could be 2-0 for San Diego. So
I feel stupid because you know how much I respect the Cardinals, but I feel stupid, but I'm going San Diego in 3. I know their pitching isn't great. They do have a decent bullpen, but their offense is really good. And I don't know what to expect from St. Louis. Again, it's kind of like reputation with the Houston Astros. I respect St. Louis's reputation. I'm just not sure this team is all that good.
No, I understand what you're saying. They are good.
Right.
They're not performing. The same way to say Houston is not a bad ball club.
Yeah.
They're just wildly underperforming.
And you make a good point, though, with the postseason experience. But we've said this before about teams, and I'm not a big postseason experience guy. I think it matters, but
I think this year it may matter least. I mean, I think this year may be the year that it doesn't make much difference because you're not in a stadium full of 40,000 people going nuts. You're not, it's everything's different, and and everybody's been saying that this whole season. Everything's different. We don't know what to expect. So I think this may be the year where postseason experience doesn't particularly matter.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm going Padres. Padres in 3. I like what they've done. Fernando Tatis Jr. is a stud. And they got studs all over the place. They're like the White Sox. But I'm going to go San Diego. I'm not overly confident in it, though. I'm about 50-50. If San Diego had healthy pitching, I wouldn't hesitate.
No, yeah. I probably wouldn't either, to be honest. But that's what kind of gives me pause.
Yeah. So Chicago and Miami. So I want to throw this out there. I've been saving on it. I've been saving this information. Miami, in its 28 seasons, has made the playoffs twice as an organization, and both times won the World Series. Keep an eye on the Marlins. That's all I'm saying. When it comes to winning World Series, they're batting 1,000.
It's absolutely insane.
Yep.
Just bonkers.
And didn't win the division either time. They were a wild card both times.
Nope. Wild card team both times. Went on a run, got hot, won a World Series. That will not happen this year. They're going to lose this series.
I agree.
I think Chicago's the worst division winner and that's not me saying, like, as a Cardinals fan.
No, I think that's fair. The entire NL Central did not perform well.
They did not at all.
Yeah.
Yu Darvish pitched the ball well.
Mm-hmm.
John Lester's 1,000 years old. Chris Bryant, Javi Baez, Anthony Rizzo, Schwarber, Contreras, all of these guys had down years. Jason Hayward was the only guy that had an up year for that team.
And he's a guy I've said I don't trust at all.
No. We've talked about this many times. They will win this series because Miami has no business being in the playoffs.
And I saw that Urania is out for this series, I believe. Maybe the whole postseason.
Yeah, sure. That's the only.
I know he's hurt. I know he's hurt.
And Urania was one of them, and Garrett Cooper, their starting first baseman, the other one, and they only know that Garrett Cooper exists because he played at Auburn. Who had a good year, had an okay year, but no. Miami, great for Miami.
Yep.
They won 26, 27 games, I think, maybe 28.
31, I'm looking at it.
The 31. Great for Miami. That is wonderful for them. Here's your two game pass to the playoffs. Have fun, and then go sit on a beach. Like,
I'm going to be cheering for Miami just because I want
to see it.
Yeah, I like the Marlins. Baseball's better, I think, if the Florida teams are good. Tampa Bay is good. You gotta have that's one thing I've seen with off topic, but Miami and Tampa are in this conversation if they might relocate in the next 10 years, even quicker for the Rays. But I'm in that camp. Baseball's better in Florida. You got the spring training right there in Orlando. That whole southern kind of central South Florida area. You gotta have baseball in Florida. So I like when the Florida teams are good. Tampa Bay's good. Miami not that great. NL East kind of sucked. AL East wasn't much better. But for a young team that was supposed to be rebuilding for like the next decade, this is big. Yeah. This is big. I agree.
Yeah, I
Cubs
mean,
in 2.
Congratulations. Here's a one-way ticket. Like, have fun in Chicago for 2 days.
And I don't have anything really against the Cubs either. I think their fans are kind of annoying, and I don't like some of their players. But I'm cheering for Miami in this one. I want to see.
My heart badly wants Miami to win this. Not only as a Cardinals fan, but a Cub hater, a non-believer in the Cubs. If they hadn't won that World Series in 2016, if the Indians hadn't choked it away, then things would be a million times better. I believe the coronavirus would not exist. There would be no racism. none of the world's ills.
Donald Trump wouldn't be president.
Donald Trump would still be president, but not everybody would hate him so much. All of the world's ills would have been cured if the Cubs had not won the World Series in 2016. That's the case. You cannot tell me otherwise. But they'll get smacked around in the second round, and I'll be happy about it.
All right, so let's go Braves and Reds here. I want to know your take. I already sent you a text today, my thoughts. You go ahead.
Yeah. This is an interesting one, like we said.
I think this might be the most compelling of the NL matchups in the first round.
I think it might be too. I think this one in San Diego and St. Louis are the two most compelling series because the other ones are so lopsided. Kind of by default. But yeah, we kind of talked about it earlier. It's a clash of styles. It's Atlanta, who has kind of gotten away from how they, when we were growing up watching them on TBS with Maddox and Glavine and Smoltz and all those guys and winning games 2-0. They have fully embraced the offense and are absolutely smashing the ball all over the yard. Freeman, Acuna, Albies, Ozuna, these guys are nuts. On the other side, Cincinnati is a team that we've kind of been talking about a little bit in the same vein as the White Sox, in saying that this is a team that has the talent to compete, just has to put it all together, find some pitching, find some into the bullpen stuff, and can compete, and they finally have. Didn't have a great year. I think over 162, they would have had a better year.
Yeah,
I think they would have been able to put it all together. Probably would have sneaked into a wild card. Sneaked into a wild card game because I don't think the Cubs would have lasted. I think the Cardinals would have won the division. I think the Reds would have came in second, won a wild card. If this series was in Cincinnati, I would pick the Reds. They play very well in Cincinnati, but since it's in Atlanta, I'm going to pick Atlanta in 3. And I think, and I'll even go on a limb here and say, Game 1 the Reds will win with Trevor Bauer, and then 2 and 3 they will lose.
Probably.
And the Braves will win in 3.
I think this is a very.
This is a series. Before you start, I'll say this is a series where I am not very confident in my pick. I think it could go either way.
I'll start. I think this is a very winnable series, but I don't trust David Bell, manager of the Cincinnati Reds, to save my life. I wish I could record some of the things my dad would say. They'd blow it or something and end up losing, and he'd be like, fucking David Bell has no business running this team. He has no business being a manager. My mom will be like, well, how did he get the job then? And he's like, because his dad works in the Reds organization. Anyway, I just want to throw that out there. I think the Reds match up pretty well here. Their offense has underperformed all year. I will concede that. But it's been really good in the last 17 games. They've won 13 of their last 17 to get in the playoffs, averaging about 4.5 runs per game. You got your top 3 arms going in Bauer and Castillo and Gray. I think this team could easily sneak 2 out of 3. And I'm going to pick them to do it. I'm going to take the Reds. I really don't feel confident in it, but they're swinging the ball well, and I don't really trust the Braves pitching right now. I think it's dinged up.
Yeah, they're hurt, which is what gave me so much pause. They can hit with anybody, but if you can't pitch, especially in the playoffs, you're not going to win. Simple as that. So you can smash the ball all over the place, do whatever you need to do, but if you don't have anybody that can throw the ball, you can trust to get outs. It's going to be hard to win a playoff series, especially a short playoff series, and even more in a 3-game playoff series.
Bauer is huge. They could easily win with Bauer on the mound. I mean, he's been electric all year. And then between Castillo and Gray, I think that they have enough there to sneak one out. I'm going to say Reds in 3, but it's going to be.
And you also have to think of the Reds have a good bullpen. They've got Raisel Iglesias.
It's been I will say this. It's been a whole lot better since the trade deadline. It was near the bottom. They acquired Archie Bradley, and they've gone from like 29th to about 18, 17, 16 range. So they're playing very well as of late.
They are. They've got a lot of arms that they can trust to get outs, and that's the biggest thing. And like I said, in the playoffs, you have arms coming out of the bullpen you trust to get outs. I'm not sure if the Braves do.
I think they have a decent bullpen, but I don't really know how it's performed.
I know that the Reds do, however.
But yeah, I'm going Reds. Not confident in it though, and I feel stupid for believing in David Bell, but I'm gonna go Reds. So back to the AL. I believe you have Rays and Yankees. I have Rays and Indians to kick off the divisional round.
Yeah. I'll go Rays here. I think they're the better team. I think they're pretty on the Yankees all year. So I think this is a pretty easy pick for me. Rays, and the only way that the Rays.
And I like the Indians to beat the Yankees. If it were a full 7-game series, I'd take the Yankees, or even 5, probably. Pretty well. But Indians, I don't think have the offense to really get very far. This is probably the furthest I think their offense can take them. The Rays have good pitching. It's not as good as Cleveland, but it's still good. They got the better bullpen. They do things well, as you've always said. I'll go Tampa as well. Tampa in about 4. Tampa's just the better overall team.
Agree.
So then I believe you have Minnesota and Oakland, and I have Minnesota and Chicago.
Yeah, I have the two probably most snake-bitten franchises in the playoffs in recent memory.
This is funny because I've heard you on this podcast say, don't trust Minnesota in the playoffs. And I know you don't trust Oakland, so I'm curious to see who you trust.
I don't know what I'm going to do here. The only reason that the Twins are moving on is because of how bad the Astros have been. If they were playing anybody else, I would not pick Minnesota.
Yeah, so that's the thing. The bottom half of this bracket's pretty favorable if you're Minnesota, who, again, if not for a tiebreaker, they'd be the number 2 seed in the AL.
Yeah. So I'll give a slight edge to Minnesota because I think they have the more potent offense. With Auburn Tigers own Josh Donaldson and Miguel Sano, and Byron Buxton has been hitting the ball better. They've got enough. I think they've got enough on the pitching side. Rich Hill is a veteran, and I always put a little bit more stock in veteran pitchers that know how to get outs in the playoffs. I think he's a great tool for them. So yeah, I will go Minnesota in 4. But like I said, either of those teams could. I think this is a series where you will see a team lose the series more than you will see a team win the series because these teams don't know what to do with themselves.
Chicago's youth is eventually going to catch up to them. It might even be as early as the wild card round. I'm a little bit higher on them. I think this is an organization that's kind of just getting started. And I got them against Minnesota. Minnesota has more veterans. Both teams probably have as many veterans, but Minnesota has just been the better team, I think. Chicago might have slightly better pitching, but I don't know if I can trust that youth in the postseason. I'm going to go Minnesota. Josh Donaldson, Miguel Sano, Nelson Cruz. They have some dudes that can swing the bat, and I've been in the postseason before. I'll go Twins here.
Not a bad pick. Not a bad pick.
NL,
I really want to pick St. Louis here, because the Dodgers just do not know how to beat St. Louis
especially not in the postseason.
In a playoff series, do not know how to beat the Cardinals. But the Dodgers are just so damn talented. I think at the end of the day, talent wins. Mookie Betts.
There is zero. I don't think there's any way St. Louis outscores the Dodgers.
No, there's absolutely no way
over a 5-game series.
No, there's no chance. So we might squeak one out. Wayno may twirl a gem right in Clayton Kershaw's big dumb face, but we can't match up with what they have. So Dodgers in 4.
So I haven't given the games. I said Rays in 4, and then I'm going to go Twins, White Sox. I'm going to say Twins in 5. I do think the White Sox take the distance there. And then I got Dodgers, Padres. In a perfect world, these teams would be meeting in the NLCS because they both have the best records in the National League. Unfortunate that it's not going to happen. But San Diego's pitching's messed up. I'm really not confident they're going to beat St. Louis. So no way in hell I'm going to pick them to beat the Dodgers. I got Dodgers in 4. I'll give San Diego a game just because they mash the ball well. So then that leaves we have a different one each time. You have Braves Cubs. I have Cubs Reds.
Braves in 3. Oh, did I say that fast enough? I'm sorry. Braves in 3.
You're gonna go Braves in 3. Not even give the Cubs a.
I do not trust the Cubs. I don't trust the Cubs. If the Cardinals or the Reds had been any better, back their way into a division championship, I have no faith in the Cubs to compete. If they weren't playing Miami in the first round, I would pick them to lose in the first round. I do not trust the Cubs. The Cardinals played 10 games in Wrigley Field this year and went 8-2. I don't trust the Cubs. I just don't. They're going to lose in 3 games to the Braves. Go Braves. I do.
All right, so I got Cubs, Reds. I have zero faith in David Bell to do it. But 5-game series, you got to be able to score runs. I don't think the Reds can do it. I will say this, though. The Reds have finished the year winning, I think, 4 of their last 5 series. All those series were against playoff teams. They actually played pretty well against the Cubs this year. I think the Cubs were just 1 game above 500 in the head-to-head. I don't know how much that would be. Like, they played 20 times, so probably like 11-10. I don't know. No, not that many.
Played 10.
Yeah. Wait, I thought they played 20 times.
7. They played 19 in a regular season.
Oh, that's shit. You're right.
162, they played 19 games apiece.
You're right. So it wouldn't be 20 this year. So yeah.
Yeah.
It would be about 10, and it was honestly probably about 6-4 ish, somewhere in there. So the Reds played well against them, but I'm going to go Cubs here. I don't like to do it, but I will say this: I think, and we had questions about him being the first-year manager, David Ross, I should say. He's done well.
Auburn Tiger.
He's what's that?
Yeah, he has he went to Auburn, so David Ross, Auburn Tiger.
I thought you said he retired. I'm like, no, unless I'm getting the name wrong.
Retired. He's not retired. No, Auburn Tiger, David Ross. He did. He overperformed. He outperformed my expectations as a manager.
The thing with the Cubs always had the ability to hit the ball pretty well, but their pitching has been lackluster the last few years. And the pitching was, pretty good this year. Darvish, I thought he was done, and here he is having a good year. So, I think he's better than what you give him credit for.
Fair. I'll give you that. That's fair.
ALCS, you have Tampa. We both, I should say, have Tampa, Minnesota here. Who do you trust?
I trust Tampa more than I trust Minnesota.
I want to pick Minnesota just because I like the Twins.
I do too. I like the Twins. I like the way that they're made up. I just don't trust them in the playoffs.
These are 2 teams I think that have great managers.
Yes, that is also true. Rocco Baldelli and Kevin Cash, 2 very good, very young managers. Rocco Baldelli played for 1 billion years for 807 different teams in the major leagues, so he knows what it takes to win. Kevin Cash has worked a miracle in Tampa Bay, as all Tampa Bay managers have to do to compete.
The reason I want to pick Minnesota is I think that they have star power. Donaldson, Sano, Nelson Cruz, and they got Jose Barrios and guys like that. That's right.
Whoa, easy, bud.
That's right, Barrios. So the reason why I swear to God, the reason why I said that is because Minnesota Cincinnati played this past weekend, and I watched that game with my dad on Friday night at the farm, and he asked me, he was watching Barrios pitch, and he asked, why is there a accent over the I? And I was like, oh, that just means I took Spanish in high school and in college. I was like, that's just to give it emphasis, and so instead of Barrios, it's Barrios. So that's why I threw it out there.
Yikes. Yeah, no, I agree with you. They do have more star power, more name brand talent. Until I see it, and I say this all the time with teams, until I see it, I'm not going to trust it.
Yeah.
Would it surprise me if they won? No, they're a great ball club. Like you said, would have been, if this was a regular year, probably would have gotten the number 2 seed. Probably would have still run into Tampa Bay here, but they're a great ball club. But I'm not going to trust it until I see it.
Yeah.
So yeah, Tampa. Give me Tampa in 6.
Yeah, that's what I said. Tampa in 6. Tampa Bay's pitching is elite. They got a great rotation and a great bullpen. Minnesota has good pitching, but it's not up there with Tampa. Tampa has great pitching.
Tyler Glasnow was going to win an AL Cy Young before too long. He is a fucking phenomenal pitcher.
I don't disagree. They have 3 dudes. Well, maybe not Charlie Morton, but definitely 2 dudes who could win a Cy Young. Absolutely. Snell's already won one. Glasnow's capable, and even Charlie Morton's not horrible.
He's going to win one. He has the nastiest stuff I've ever seen. It's insane.
So NL, we're different here. You got Dodgers, Braves. I have Dodgers, Cubs. You go ahead.
Yeah, even if I had St. Louis here, or I had I'm taking the Dodgers. Talent wins, and the Dodgers also have postseason pedigree with Bueller.
I mean, a lot of these dudes
Bellinger,
were on those World Series teams in 17 and 18.
Absolutely. Mookie Betts has won a World Series before, basically carried a team to a World Series.
Yep.
Yeah, so, I mean, there's just, I don't know how they're going to pay everybody, and I hope they can't for very long. But there's just way too much talent on this Dodgers team for them to not win the National League here. So I'll say Dodgers, and I have Dodgers Braves. I'll say Dodgers in 6. The Braves are a very, very good team. They just kind of are running into a freight train here.
Yeah. So I have the Cubs in the NLCS facing the Dodgers. I didn't give they'll win in however many games against the Reds. They'll win in 4 or something, maybe in 3 against the Reds. I don't trust the Reds whatsoever against them. But Dodgers, Cubs have been better, but like you said, Dodgers are a freight train right now. And I will say this, the postseason is going to be in hub cities. I think in the AL, it's San Diego and LA. And then in the National League, it's in Arlington and Houston, I believe. So this is going to be huge for teams. How did you do away from home this year? Because you could be away from your home for an entire month this postseason. And it's no coincidence I'm going to pick the teams that have the best record away from home. And I have the Dodgers winning the NLCS shocker in about 5 games. But the Rays were 20-11, and the Dodgers were 22-8. Aside from another team had 20 wins on the road. I can't think of who. Let me look here. Oh, oddly enough, Miami. So maybe they could upset the Cubs.
Who knows?
But aside from Miami was 20-14, which I don't know how you get 34. I guess it was just doubleheaders. They had to play it away from home. and then you got the Rays at 20-11. Rays in the Dodgers, I should say, have the best records away from home this season, and it's no coincidence I'm going to pick them to make it to the World Series. I think these are the two best teams in baseball. I mean, I hate to do chalk, but they are.
Yeah, I agree. We're kind of the same, and I don't like to pick chalk, and I like parity, but this year especially, I think that's just the case. I mean, like it's there's going to be 2 number 1 seeds in the Super Bowl. Like, if they're better teams, they're better teams. That's it. I thought it's happened a bunch.
I believe it's only one, and it was in 2008.
Who knows? Lots of people know. But you know what I'm saying? Like, it happens. So
Kansas City is dominating Baltimore.
That's not good because I need Lamar Jackson to be good.
That's right. I'm playing you this week in fantasy. I got Mahomes.
Yeah, I'm just not doing well, and we're just not going to talk about it. So I think I'm going to go Los Angeles in the World Series. I think it will go 6 or 7.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a very competitive series. I think, the overwhelming, the money will be overwhelmingly on LA because not a lot of people know a whole lot about Tampa Bay. They don't know how good they are. So you could get a really good size bet on Tampa. Make some money if they do win the World Series, but at the end of the day, like I said, there's just the Dodgers have talent coming out of their ears, and I think it's just too much. So I will say Dodgers in 7. The World Series, Magic Johnson gets to lift that World Series trophy with his AIDS-riddled body.
It's HIV, first off. Let's not go slinging that around. So I'm going Dodgers as well. This team, what's the weakness of the Dodgers? The Rays, I would argue, weakness is they don't score enough runs offensively. But the Dodgers are really good offensively, and they have great pitching.
You could probably give me bullpen as their weakness.
Here's the thing. Their bullpen ranked 2nd in ERA.
I know. That's what I'm saying. like nobody, like, the bullpen, you could give me the bullpen because they don't get talked about as much as the starters in the lineup,
right? Because
the starters in the lineup are stupid. But the bullpen is arguably probably the strength of their team. I mean, the way that they're throwing the ball right now, I'm right there with you. What do you attack as another team? What is the weakness you attack? Do you attack the starters? No, because they're awesome. Do you attack the back end of the lineup? No, because Justin Turner's hitting 7th, which is
stupid.
And
he'd be batting 3rd for any other lineup in baseball.
What do? You can't get after the starters because Walker Buehler is going to strike out 18 people. It's just, and Clayton Kershaw is one of the best pitchers of a generation.
Is it safe to say that that the mantle has passed from Kershaw to Buehler?
Ceremonially, no. I would. It's kind of the same. It's kind of the same with the Cardinals, where this is still. I would argue this is still Clayton Kershaw and Justin Turner's team as the veterans in the lineup. But realistically and statistically, it's probably Cody Bellinger, Mookie Betts, and Walker Buehler's team.
Right.
But those guys have been around for so long, have put in so much, have lost so much with that team, and been through so much. That,
I think Lamar Jackson just fumbled.
Wonderful. I don't even want to talk about it, Shane.
I'm beating you by about 85 points.
Yeah, I'm about to say you're already beating me by 100 anyway. It doesn't freaking matter. Just not even worry about it. But yeah, there's no way. I don't think there's any way that Los Angeles loses. And honest to God, it wouldn't surprise me if they lost less than 5 games in this postseason. I mean, they're just that good.
Right now, I have them. I said 2 against Milwaukee, and I believe in 4 against the Padres. So that's 6-1. I said 5 against the Cubs, 6-10-2, and I'm gonna say the Dodgers here in about 6. So that's still 4 wins. That's still 14-4 roughly in the postseason. And I wouldn't be shocked at all. If the Dodgers can't win it this year, like, I don't know when you will. If you're the Dodgers have had arguably the best lineup, the best pitching for the last 4 or 5 years with no championship to show for it. They've made it to the World Series twice, but no championship. If they can't get it done this year, and I know they got some dudes under contract for a while. I know Kershaw, Betts, and a bunch of guys are under contract for a long time. But if they can't get it done this year, I'm not sure when it's going to happen. Like I said, I look at this team. I see no weakness. Every other team has a weakness. The Rays don't score very many runs. The Twins, their pitching isn't great. I look at the NL. The Padres are young. The Braves have no starting pitching. The Cubs are the Cubs. The Cardinals can't score runs. Like, I don't know when it's... Like, if it's not this year, I don't know when it's going to happen.
Let's take a field trip here.
Like I said, their run differential is plus 136. We played a 60-game schedule. That is beating a team by about 2 runs a game.
It's just insane. How
is that math right? Yeah, 120 divided by 60. That's 2 runs.
A game. Let's take a little field trip here.
The Padres are second at 84. They are ahead of the Padres by 52, I believe, runs. And then the third place team in run differential is like a 4 or 3-way tie at 60. So that's still 76 run difference between, who is it here? Atlanta, Tampa Bay, and the Chicago White Sox. Three teams.
They're just stupid, man.
Here's the thing. They could afford to lose some of these guys. They're probably not going to pay all of them. But they have one of the best farm systems. Right? We're not talking about enough. The Dodgers have built one of the best organizations in baseball right now.
It pains me
of all
to say
time, I should say. Not right now, because they are the best organization right now. But of all time. They're loaded, and they're loaded in their farm system. And, we could always say, well, they'll trade some guys to get better. Well, who are you going to trade for? Because your entire lineup is the best in baseball. Could you get better players? Could you get a better player at third base than Justin Turner? Yeah, you could. Would you want to? Probably not, because Justin Turner's still pretty good.
Justin Turner's maybe the cornerstone of your organization right now.
Well, I just gave a player.
Yeah, it's just...
If there's a weakness on this team, it might be catcher, and that's it.
And their catchers are really good.
Yeah, and I know you said you're high on their catching prospect, who I think started this year, but...
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. I'm going Dodgers. Dodgers in about 6. I do think, like you said, Kevin Cash, is that his name?
Yeah.
He's probably the best manager in baseball. He is going to make this as competitive a series as probably possible with his lineup. So, I'm going to, with respect to him, I'm going to say the Rays get to about 6. But they just don't match up with the Dodgers. Dodgers in about 6.
They're really.
If it's 5 or 4, I wouldn't be shocked either, because Tampa Bay is really not good enough to outscore them.
Let's see when the Dodgers. Let's see your son.
Last won a World Series in 1988. I wrote about it today.
That was the Kirk Gibson World Series. Off dinner's actually. Okay, so let's talk about this. Since we're on the Dodgers.
Yep.
Mookie Betts is signed through 2033.
Okay.
That's nuts. David Price is signed through 2023.
Okay.
Clayton Kershaw is signed through 2022. Kenley Jansen is signed through 2022. A.J. Pollock is signed through 2024. Max Muncy is signed through 2024. Cody
That's
Bellinger.
another name, AJ Pollock, who's on their bench and is an all-star. I'm pretty sure at some point in his career.
Yeah, he was with Arizona. He was absolutely a.
He doesn't start, and he's an all-star or a former all-star.
Walker Buehler is signed through 2025. Dustin May is signed through 2026. Kike Hernandez is signed through 2021. Corey Seager is signed through 2022. Blake Trinan is signed through 2021 at the back of the bullpen. Chris Taylor, they're all everything utility player, is signed through 2022. Joe Kelly, my favorite pitcher of all time, is signed through 2023. I mean, it's not like these guys. It's not like they've got a bunch of rentals.
Right. I know.
Gavin Lux is signed through 2026. These are guys. Will Smith, their starting catcher, is signed through 2026. And Gavin Lux, Will Smith, and Dustin May all make the league minimum at $566,000.
Where's Bellinger at? I don't think you've said him.
Bellinger is signed through 2024.
Jesus Christ.
These guys are going to be the best team in the league for a long, long time.
Yeah. We are looking at I think a dynasty here. And I don't like to throw that around because last time we used that with the Cubs, they never lived up to it. But I think this is completely different.
I 100% agree with you.
That Cubs team did not have the pitching of this Dodgers team. They were using a lot of rentals. They didn't have probably 4 MVPs in one roster. Let's count them out: Betts, Bellinger, Kershaw.
Betts, Bellinger, Kershaw.
Maybe just those 3, but still, that's a lot.
Yeah. David Price has won a Cy Young. Kershaw has won a Cy Young. Walker Buehler will win a Cy Young eventually.
Am I wrong that Kershaw has won MVP? I thought he did.
Yes, he has.
I thought so.
Yes. He won MVP Cy Young's same year. I mean, they're just a freight train. I mean, it's insane.
They won 71, almost 72% of their games. And 162 games, that would have been...
And they're really not in a bad payroll spot either.
No.
They make the most money out of any team. They have the highest payroll of any team, but they're really not in a bad spot because, like I said, Bellinger, really good arbitration deal. Walker Buehler, Dustin May, Will Smith, Gavin Lux are all on rookie deals, making the league minimum. Betts and Price and Kirk
are about 3 guys that I think that they will move on from here in a bit, in a year or 2, and they can just trade for someone else, or they might have a guy behind Justin Turner or whoever else that can step in and play at 24, 25 years old. Just ridiculous. Just absolutely ridiculous.
It's absolutely stupid.
It is that. I don't really know what else to talk about, my man. We've done all the baseball.
Did you want to get into awards real quick, or?
Sure. World Series MVP. I did say Mookie Betts on my blog, which is chalk, but he was hitting the best in the regular season.
I always like to go kind of away.
That does seem to happen way more in baseball than any other sport.
In baseball, it does. So I will say Walker Buehler gets the MVP this year.
How many times has a pitcher won World Series MVP? It's happened a few times, but when was the last time?
It happened last year.
Did it?
Steven Strasburg won World Series MVP last year.
I think you're right.
I want to say...
It wasn't Anthony Rendon. I feel like he was also up there.
No, Strasburg definitely won MVP last year in the World Series. Yeah.
I'm aware it does happen, but I just think about it statistically.
It's happened a good bit.
But I just think about it statistically. A pitcher, assuming it goes 7 games, your starter's probably going to start in 2 games, and then probably come in relief in game 6 or 7.
Right.
This World Series, I think it's going to be about 5 games, maybe 6. Buehler might get 2 games. I don't think he'll come in relief, in 6 games. Likely, if it goes 7, he will. But
if it's a position player, I'm going to pick Max Muncy. I I think they may kind of pitch around Mookie a little bit, and that may give Muncy and Chris Taylor and Gavin Lux and those other guys more pitches to hit. So I'll stick with my Buehler pick, but if you're right, like you said, it goes 5 games and Buehler only appears in 1 game.
Yeah, I just think it's hard for a pitcher.
My pick would be Muncy. But like I said, I do think it goes. I think it goes 7. So, I think you could see a scenario where Buehler goes 2-0 in his starts and has to come in relief in Game 6 or Game 7 and gets a save or something. You know?
And I know, like I said, I know it's happened. I know Randy Johnson did it. I know Madison Bumgarner did it. You said Steven Strasburg did it. That's 3 pitchers in the last 20 years that have won World Series MVP. Also, I've seen that this will be the 20th season we have not had back-to-back champions.
Yep.
I love it. Baseball has the best parity. I shouldn't say that. Baseball's got a problem with not having a salary cap because it's the same teams competing just about every single year. It's the Yankees and the Dodgers and right now the Cubs and the Astros, but I know they haven't been good in the last 20 years, but that's baseball's problem, I think. Yeah,
but they also do have better than the NBA or the NFL. The NHL is kind of a little bit with the MLB in terms of parity and teams, teams getting in and teams winning championships. But like you said, there hasn't been a repeat champion in 20 years since the Yankees won three in a row at the turn of the century. So I think that's a good thing. I think you're not seeing a Patriots team in the major leagues win 5 out of the last 12 or however many it was World Series. You're seeing the same teams, but each having success at different times. You're seeing a Houston team win one World Series, but be in the World Series 2 or 3 years in a row. The Cardinals make 4 World Series in this decade. The Red Sox have made 4 World Series. The Dodgers are on a run right now. It's the same teams, but like I said, at different times, and I think that's a good thing. I think you're not seeing the same.
And you're right. Baseball and hockey have the biggest, or have the most parity. It's always 2 different teams. It feels like in the Stanley Cup, it's always 2 different teams. In Major League Baseball, just about every year, playing for it all. Basketball feels like the same 2 teams every single year. Not this year, but football, though, the NFL has parity from week to week, but for the most part, every single year in the NFL, there's only about 4 teams that can win it all, and it varies year to year who those 4 teams are. I like baseball, but
I agree.
All right, I don't have anything else, my man, unless you wanted to come on and talk college football or something.
Nah, we're too early in college football now. I know your Mountaineers got beat last week,
dude.
And you had some thoughts about it, but
dude, 5 plays, like that was the difference in the game, and we didn't deserve to win by any stretch of the imagination. But I'm complaining because the defense didn't do anything to keep us out of the game. You look at the score, you're like, oh, they won by 2 scores, it wasn't close. Wrong. Defense played great. There was a strip sack, a muffed hold on a field goal attempt, a 60-yard touchdown run in the first quarter that we gave up. Just stupid plays that if they don't happen, we win the game probably like 17-10. I don't know. But
I mean, you played Oklahoma State, right? I mean, Chuba Hubbard's probably the best running back in the country. You're gonna give up that kind of run, Chuba Hubbard.
It wasn't him; it was his backup, but still.
Was it his backup? Okay.
There were others.
That's always tough. Auburn does that all the time. You take away 3 plays and Auburn wins a game. I've seen that happen my entire life, so I understand the plight.
And I'm not sitting here complaining. I didn't think we'd win the game. I just wanted to be competitive, and we kind of were, but not the way I envisioned. I thought we would.
It was in Stillwater, yeah.
It was. And Oklahoma State, I know they haven't looked good. They still won 2 games, and they haven't played their best football yet. So I still think they're a good team. So, heading in the right direction, I guess.
watch out for the SEC. Needs to watch out because Auburn's coming. The SEC may be down this year. Florida's going to be good. I don't think Alabama's going to be as good as everybody thinks they are.
Alabama, they were up 38-3, but then it ended up being 38-19, just not that pretty.
Did not look very good against a very, very bad Mizzou team.
I'll say this. I think Florida might be the best team in the SEC. Alabama didn't look great, but I know they'll be good. Georgia wasn't impressive against Arkansas, even though you look at the final score and you would think, oh, they won big, but it was 7-5, I think, at halftime.
Hilarious.
I don't know who the hell was pitching that game.
Hilarious.
LSU, which I said from the beginning, I thought was kind of not fool's gold last year, but we say all the time, the stars aligned, and I don't think Ed Orgeron's that great of a coach. He was carried by a terrific offense and one of the best offensive minds in football, and Joe Brady, I think. I always want to call him Phil Brady. I don't know why, but Joe Brady. Defensively, LSU wasn't that good last year. They were giving up 24, 28 points a game, but it just so happened their offense was scoring 60.
They could outscore everybody, and now they can't do that. And they have the same problem that Auburn had in 2011, where they lost literally every single person that contributed to their win whatsoever. Anybody that could have come back didn't. They all went to the NFL. They all got paid.
Jamar Chase was the only one, and he opted out.
They had nobody returning. It's tough to win games when you're essentially replacing 22 starters.
Yep.
Derek Stingley's going to be the best quarterback in the nation. He was out last game, and it was against an air raid team. It does not surprise me that Mississippi State won that ball game. It surprises me that they threw for 978 yards or however much it was. But
I watched I like watching those SEC short videos. They do give me a good laugh on Monday.
Those guys out of Birmingham, I used to see them out in the bars a lot. They're funny dudes.
They are funny, but I heard him say that they only give up 9 rushing yards to Mississippi State and still lost.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. Yeah,
if that's true, I think that's bonkers.
For 623 yards in the SEC. 600.
I've said this to James and several people, but James specifically when we talk college football. I don't know how he really played the game, maybe at high school, but I don't think he played in college. He doesn't run the ball.
It's because he's so weird.
Defensively, he always does seem to have decent defenses wherever he's been. But yet he still manages to throw the ball and put up points. It's crazy. He shouldn't be good. I know he's weird.
Wide ass open. I mean, he is going to beat you if you cannot rush the passer, and LSU could not rush the passer. Auburn played Washington secondary that year, but we could rush the passer. If you can rush the passer against an air raid offense and get and disrupt the rhythm of the air raid offense, you can have success. You can beat an air raid team. LSU couldn't do that. Whether it was their defensive line is not very good or Mississippi State's offensive line is good. I'm sincerely hoping it's LSU's defensive line is very good because then we have to play Mississippi State.
Are they going to Baton Rouge? I feel like they are. I feel like no, they go to Auburn in even numbered years. I think
LSU is at Auburn, but
that's right.
We have to go to Starkville this year, I think, and I don't want to do that.
What was that? You have to do what?
We have to go to Starkville this year and play Mississippi State.
Not gonna be easy.
Not gonna be fun. If they have a good offensive line and you can't rush the passer and disrupt the rhythm of the air raid offense, it's not going to be fun.
I was surprised Auburn won by 2 scores against Kentucky. I really thought Kentucky would at least keep that game very close and maybe even win the game.
You picked Kentucky, and I wanted to trash you for it. People are going to find out just how good Bo Nix is. Bo Nix is a great college quarterback. He was a true freshman last year and won 9 games as a true freshman?
Something like that.
With an offense that wasn't very good. Had two stellar receivers, did not have a very good offensive line, did not have a very good running game, and won 9 games. I mean, we had an incredible defense. We'll always have incredible defenses as long as Kevin Steele is there. But
well, I guess he's turned the corner because
Bo Nix.
I'm going to say this: Kevin Steele was the defensive coordinator at Clemson when he played West Virginia in the Orange Bowl. And West Virginia is still scoring points against them in that Orange
They're
Bowl.
still scoring.
He was fired. I'm like, this dude must be an idiot. He goes to Auburn and he gets it done. You know, is feeling good defenses. He must have figured something out. Gotten right with Jesus. I don't know, but
yeah, it's called being able to recruit players to Auburn. You couldn't recruit players to Clemson at that time. But no, we have the college game day game this week in Athens against Georgia.
Auburn might win that game.
Georgia's the number 4 team in the country. I think Auburn wins by 2 scores.
I don't know about that.
I think they win going away. I don't know what Georgia's going to do at quarterback.
True.
Their starting quarterback couldn't compete against Arkansas, who might not win a football game this year. And their second quarterback was only successful because they stopped calling dumb plays and just let him play. And he's been in the system for God knows how long. So I don't know if Georgia has a quarterback that can beat Auburn's defense. I know Auburn has a quarterback that can beat Georgia's defense. Auburn's going to win by 2 touchdowns or more.
When was the last time they won in Athens?
2005. It's been a while.
I don't know.
But it's not going to be a full stadium. It's not going to be nuts.
True.
Not like you're going into Sanford Stadium on a Saturday night and there's 30,000 drunk frat boys going berserk and the entire city of Atlanta bearing down upon you. Just watch the game, Shane. 6:30.
I'll be watching the game. I mean, I love college.
Nix is good Auburn. Good college.
I'm not discouraged. You know, I don't dislike Bo Nix. He was, for a true freshman, he was impressive. Freshman is good at quarterback, other than Trevor Lawrence, who was a generational talent. You know what I mean?
If you don't play for Alabama or Clemson, it's very, very difficult to be a good true freshman college quarterback, and I think Bo Nix was a good true freshman college quarterback. He didn't throw himself into danger. He makes good decisions. He escapes the pocket. He doesn't take sacks. He doesn't throw dumb interceptions. His interceptions are either overthrows or tip passes or great plays by the defensive back. It's not, he doesn't get in his own way. Like we're saying with some of these baseball teams, he doesn't get in his own way. He was born and raised to play quarterback at Auburn by Pat Nix, who was a great high school coach in Alabama. Coaches at Central Phoenix City now. One of the best high school programs in the country.
Which, by the way, we grew up in Alabama. Where'd that come from? Central Phoenix City wasn't all that when we were in high school.
I have no idea. I feel like
Thompson has taken over kind of, and I know why, because they're just recruiting Tua Tagovailoa's family to come play quarterback for them.
They're just recruiting Tagovailoa. Like
and Hoover, although is off to a great start this year, or Hoover Bucks. But I know why Hoover struggled, because Thompson's been good. I'm not taking that away from him. But then all of a sudden, Central Phoenix City is this powerhouse in the South, in the southern part of the state, I should say. Yeah. And when we were there, they weren't that good.
No, it was all Thompson and it was all Prattville and Daphne when we were there, because they were recruiting from. Prattville had the center of the state on lock. Daphne had the bottom of that state on lock. And anybody that was good came and played for those teams, which we probably did too. But whatever. Yeah.
By the way, did you see the Rush Propst news this week? Or this weekend? So, for those that are still listening, I should say, Russ Propst was the head coach at our alma mater, Hoover High School. Put the Hoover Bucks football program on the map.
Absolutely.
Won 5 state championships in 8 years, something like that.
It was like 6 and 10, 5 and 8, something like that.
Something like that, yeah. So anyway,
5 in a row, I believe, when we were younger. Did he win 5 in a row or did he win 4?
He won 4. They almost got 5, lost in the state championship to
That's
Prattville.
right.
But they won 5, 2000 and then 02, 03, 04, 05. Anyway, so long story short, he gets into some trouble at Hoover our freshman year. Well, even before then. Gets essentially fired. Fired. He technically resigned. Goes out to Georgia. Does well out in Georgia. Wins the state championship again. But then gets in trouble again. And I think he got fired out there. At, what was that? Colquitt County, I think?
Colquitt, yeah.
Colquitt. Camden was the school from Southeast Georgia.
Camden, yeah.
Gets a radio job in Knoxville, Tennessee, which isn't shocking considering Jeremy Pruitt just so happens to be the head coach in Knoxville of the Volunteers, who was an assistant for Russ Propst at Hoover High School. Anyway, I'm just going through the timeline here.
We're connecting everything here.
So he ends up getting a job. I didn't know he got another job, but apparently he got a job in a Georgia high school. My mom said it might have been Valdosta. I don't remember. I didn't even honestly read the article. I just saw he was attached to it. A player from California was ruled ineligible this year in Georgia for him. And I forget the whole story. It was something like he claimed his parents were divorcing, and the dad all of a sudden gets this job in Georgia, or maybe the mom, I don't know. He decides to move to Georgia, and they're going to start. He's, we moved here. Oh, and it just so happens Russ Propst is out here. I'm going to play for him. He's ruled ineligible. Shocker. Russ Propst played ineligible players a lot at Hoover. That was part of the reason why he got fired. But I saw that. I'm like, this dude can't get out of his own way. And I don't want to say anything too bad. We graduated with his son. I played football with his nephews. I don't want to say anything too bad. The dude just can't get out of his own way.
Didn't he get a job at some school outside of Montgomery that was trying to be? I saw this like maybe a year ago, that was trying to be like an IMG academy outside of Montgomery. Did you see that?
I think he was linked to it. I think he was being interviewed or something. I know what you're talking about, roughly. Okay. And they were looking at him. I don't think he got that job though.
Okay.
But I know what you're talking about, roughly. And I was like, are you dumb?
Oh,
are you dumb?
Russ Propst is coming back to Alabama. He's going to get shot.
And I have nothing against the guy. I mean, I know he's got his issues, but I don't wish him anything but good luck.
I wish him no ill will. I mean, it's just the circumstance of his decision making.
The dude can't get out. I saw that and I'm like, God, good God, Russ Propst can't get out of his own way.
I think I even told you that he's going to get a job at Tennessee one day. If Jeremy Pruitt's there for much longer, I think he'll hire Russ Propst.
No, there's no way.
Not on field.
Probst, I think, should be in college coaching. When he was at Hoover, he wanted that UAB job.
Yeah.
And it just so happened, I'm still somewhat surprised that Pruitt, who worked under him, is now a head coach in the SEC at Hoover High School, or worked under him at Hoover High School, and Russ Propst can't get a job in college. But I'll be honest, UAB, because that was like the year before he got fired resigned from Hoover. I'll be honest, UAB probably looked into everything about him. I guarantee you that's why he didn't get that job.
I remember he and Paul Feinbaum, back when Feinbaum was based in Birmingham, he and Paul Feinbaum would go at each other.
Why is he calling in the Paul Feinbaum, who is just about an exclusive?
No, it's if Feinbaum would talk about him. And I think Feinbaum may have done some research too and figured out that Russ Propst was maybe not the best dude in the world.
Which he's not. I mean, let's call it like it is.
And if UAB's going after him, I would have bet Feinbaum, big power player in Birmingham at the time, may have had a little bit to do with UAB not hiring Russ Propst.
Probably. I mean, Feinbaum's connected. He probably, I mean, it's not that hard to get people. There were people, I mean, I've talked to my mom about this. There are people at Hoover around that time, the inner circle, who knew what was going on at Hoover and knew that he was.
That's also not the only thing he did at Hoover. I mean, the straw that broke the camel's back was the families thing. But I mean, when my sister was in school, there was the whole, he had the secretary on the payroll that would change the grades for his players.
And that, well, I'm not even talking about his personal life. You can't fire a dude for his personal life. It was the whole, like you said, grades changing, playing ineligible players. From what the rumor is, you know how much money Hoover makes from parking on Friday nights? $5 to park at the Met. My mom counted it when my brother was a freshman, because freshman football parents have to count money and take money in the parking lot. There were nights Hoover would make $10,000 in parking. Rumor is he pocketed that.
And I mean, how many outside of students and how much do they make on tickets? I mean, you know, because students would get in for free if they bought the activity card or whatever.
I don't know if he had access to that, but yeah, he had. I know he had access to football or the parking money, because everyone had like a pouch or something, and all the pouches were returned to the athletic department, which he basically had free reign at the time. But that was always the rumor, that you can't prove it because it's cash, but where's the money?
Yep. All the money.
I mean, Hoover has 5 home games a year. That's $50,000 just in cash.
Cash money.
That's not including playoff games, which Hoover would usually get 2, 3, sometimes 4 home games in the playoffs.
Yep. Cash money.
It's insane. Anyway, I just thought that was not funny, but an interesting story over the weekend.
Interesting. Yeah. He always... I never saw him, like, retiring and doing a radio show or retiring and doing nothing. Like, I always thought he would die on a football field. Like,
if he can't have his own way, he should. He should be a college coach. And the fact that you say he should be, working at Tennessee as an analyst, I think definitely. He's a great offensive mind. Like, yeah, I always had such respect for him as a play caller, offensive mind, head coach, whole 9 yards. Like, he should be a college coach. But, dude's got issues.
It's rough.
Again, I don't want to say anything too much, but because we know that area and know his family, but...
Oh, well. It is what it is.
It is what it is, that's for sure. What else is going on?
I got nothing, brother.
How's Arkansas?
I don't see much of it.
You don't see much of it?
Yeah, we're kind of stuck inside. Not much has opened back up, but it's okay. Sarah likes it, so I like it.
Do you like it though?
I miss Alabama.
My brother moved back. He got a job in Huntsville.
Her brother lives in Huntsville.
Really?
Now. So we may be meandering to Huntsville when she's done with school.
I'll go ahead and say it. I don't want to jinx it, but I do have an interview Wednesday with a company in Huntsville too.
Huntsville is booming right now.
Kinda, yeah. They're becoming a little Hoover there.
Yeah. They're getting really big.
Well, I mean, a lot of it's, the NASA work and missile defense and all those other government, workshops that are located in Huntsville. Which I think that's where my brother got a job. He works for some missile defense company.
Yeah, that's what my brother-in-law does. He works for a defense contractor.
Craziness. And so that you got all those people. Huntsville, it is blowing up. Like, that would be a place I would like to live. Just, it's not a big city, really at all, but it's got that Hoover feel, It's very commercialized at the same time.
It does. Yeah, it is. It's... I haven't been in a while, but when I was living in Birmingham, I went a couple of times, and it's just like it used to be, just like downtown Huntsville. And then you would get out of downtown Huntsville, and there'd be nothing, and then you get to Madison, and then you get to Decatur, and then you get down into Athens and up, But it's all becoming the same thing, kind of like Birmingham. Is, it's becoming a more metropolitan type area. It's really nice. I think Huntsville is very high on our list when we do head back east. As we say, Huntsville is very high on our list.
That is it's a win, not if you're heading back east?
Win.
It is a win, not an if. Interesting.
Win. Definitely.
All right, my man. I've stayed on long enough. I got to get to work here.
Yeah, bro. Get to work.
There's nothing in right now, but I got to be ready for when it comes.
Yeah, brother.
All right. See ya.
Always fun.
Always fun. Yep. See you later.
Bye.